Now, a great example of the signaling pathways is the pathway that responds to epidermal growth factor, EGF. EGF is a signal that when cells respond to it, tells them to start dividing, make more cells, make more of that tissue. So what we find is that epidermal growth factor has its own receptor, okay? Epidermal growth factor receptor, EGFR. EGF binds to EGFR. EGFR, the receptor, only binds to epidermal growth factor. So think about it. You get a cut. Somehow that cut in a week or two will be healed up. What was a break in the tissue is now healed over. Depending upon its depth and severity, you may see a scar, you may not. But somehow that cut was filled in with cells. Epidermal growth factor tells the cells that are lining on both sides of the cut, start dividing, start going through mitosis, which we'll talk about in another chapter. Start filling in the gap. So what we find happens is that epidermal growth factor binds its receptor. Its receptor, which is a tyrosine kinase receptor, dimerizes, phosphorylates its own tyrosines, which recruit in a series of enzymes, a series of proteins that once they bind will now associate with other proteins, other enzymes. The dimerized receptor recruits in GRB2. GRB2 bound to the receptor recruits in SOS. Those two bound together recruits in RAS. RAS phosphorylates MEK. MEK will then go and activate, causing multiple ERKs, proteins, to phosphorylate. ERK then travels to the nucleus, binds to other proteins there in the nucleus to turn on certain genes, which will cause the cells to begin dividing, begin filling in for the damage. Here above my head, a link. It's a decent video that goes through and discusses some of the signaling that we've been talking about. On the chapter webpage, I will also have embedded some other YouTube videos that I think are scientifically accurate to help you visualize this process.